Now, Sports on 6.
And good afternoon, everyone. Nick Weig here with you from the Alert Center. We've got a lot of action leading up to tomorrow night's game between the Nebraska Cornhuskers and the Iowa Hawkeyes in their Sweet 16 showdown. Just a reminder, in case you haven't heard, the two Big Ten rivals will be facing off in the round of 16 tomorrow night at 6:30. Tip-off scheduled then in the Toyota Center at Houston. Nebraska coming in at the 4 seed. Iowa, after defeating the defending national champions, coming in at a low 9 seed. These two teams obviously know each other extremely well, as they have played each other twice in the regular season, splitting those matchups during the regular season, and now they will face off in arguably the biggest game of either team's program's history in quite some time, as this is Nebraska's first arrival in the Sweet 16 in program history, Iowa's first time in the Sweet 16 in 27 years, not since Dr. Tom Davis. Just a short time ago, the news conferences wrapped up between the two teams, and we heard from the Hawkeye players and coaches as well as the Nebraska players and coaches, and we'll go ahead and start with Iowa head coach Ben McCollum. Here's what he had to tell reporters just a short time ago.
Yeah, obviously we're excited to be playing. I think anytime you go to a Sweet 16 or you advance in a tournament, I think you can settle in a little too much. And so hopefully what we're trying to do is understand that we're still trying to win and trying to advance and keep going further and further. We got a tough group, a group that's connected, and again, excited about the opportunity to play tomorrow.
If you have a question, please raise your hand. Third row middle.
Amy Just, Lincoln Journal-Star. Ben, what do you think this game will do for the rivalry between Nebraska and Iowa?
Yeah, I don't know. I probably, growing up around it, obviously there's, Iowa State and Nebraska are all kind of rivals. Usually you probably, none of us like any of each other. It's kind of how it works. So I don't know that it's going to, excite it anymore. I mean, it's one of those things that when you grow up around it, you understand it, you get it. I probably don't, when you're in it, like when you're playing, you probably don't really pay attention to it, to be perfectly honest. I hate to say that for Iowa and Nebraska fans, but it's irrelevant that they're Nebraska and we're Iowa. In my mind, maybe from an outside perspective, it's a little bit different, but for me, it could be Florida, Clemson, Nebraska. It's irrelevant. It's the next opponent, and they're a really good team.
Right side, fourth row.
Myron Metcalf, ESPN. Ben, what are some of the lessons you think you learned at the D2 level and the mid-major level that you've applied to the success you've had this season?
Yeah, and we just had a conversation about that a second ago. I think the beauty of being at Division II is you're allowed to make a lot of mistakes and do a lot of things wrong and a lot of things right without external noise. And so initially when you become a head coach, there's a lot of things that you really have zero clue on, and there's still quite a few things that I have zero clue on. But certainly when I took over, it was like, man, I don't really know anything. But there wasn't noise associated with that from other people. It was me. It was the pressure that I put on myself or our staff or whatever it may be. And so over time, you create a level of confidence in what you do and how you do it. And then for us, we were fortunate enough to play in a lot of NCAA tournaments games, a lot of high-pressure games, and we figured out what it took to actually win those games and play in them, which we were able to take to the University of Iowa, obviously, and be able to perform in postseason play and whatnot. But yeah, it's interesting. You see a lot of coaches take over, and it's their first year, and they like finish fourth or fifth, and it's almost like the kiss of death. Like the higher you finish, the worse you're going to be as a coach because you never hit rock bottom. Well, we were dead last my first 2 seasons, so you kind of hit rock bottom. You better figure it out. We figured it out, and then now we're able to continue to figure it out as we go forward.
Third row, right side.
Christy Rieken from the Associated Press. With this being the first year of coaches' challenges, it seems like you had probably the most impactful one of the whole tournament so far, late in your last game. Can you talk to me about what all goes into that, who's making those decisions, and how big of an impact do you feel like that challenge had for your win?
Yeah, I mean, we actually challenged 2, and we were right on both. Third, we were going to challenge, but you only have 2, and the third one we would have been right on as well. So how does it? What goes into it? I look at my video guy, who knows when there's a possible challenge, and he's scared to death at that point. And he used to try to explain it to me. Well, it might have bounced off this. It might have done this. I'm like, dude, yes or no? Do you want me to challenge it or not? Like, yes or no? And he had me challenge one. I think it was in the first game. Is that the one you're talking about, or the second game? The 2 in the second game? Yeah. So there's one in the first game that was as good too, but and it'll be, hey, yes or no, yes or no. And then one of them, he said, yes, challenge it. And I go, you better not be wrong. And he kind of sits there and he's like, he goes back and look, but I had already challenged it. And then as we overturned it, he yelled something back at me, which was really nice of him. So it was entertaining. But we've got a really good video guy, got a really good staff. And so they pay attention to it. They know to only challenge if you're 100% certain. I don't want 90%. I want 100%. Late game, maybe you just challenge it just to see if you can, I don't know, just see if you can get one to overturn. But throughout the game, we make sure that we're right when we challenge.
Third row. We'll come back to you in a minute. Third row, left side.
Steve Sipple, Husker Online. What are the main differences in your mind between game 1 against Nebraska and the second go-round?
I thought they just played better than us the second time around. Obviously they made a few adjustments. We made a few adjustments. I think they just played better, and they beat us. And so, hopefully we can play better this time. Obviously there was some little nuances that they changed. They changed a few things spacing-wise. They changed a few things with their defensive presence, how they did things. And then we adjusted some things too. But they just outplayed us. They were just better that night.
That was Iowa head coach Ben McCollum speaking a short time ago ahead of tomorrow's Sweet 16 matchup. We're bringing these to you because Iowa's coaches and players spoke first. The Nebraska Coach Hoiberg and the players just wrapped up, and we will get to those in just a moment. This was just the order in which the news conferences took place. Similarly, this morning, the Hawkeyes were the first team to take to the court and take on practice this morning. The team is gearing up for their game against Nebraska tomorrow night. This will be sort of a rubber match between the two rivals as they split the regular season matchups. Iowa, by all accounts, not expected to be here as a number 9 seed and having to defeat the defending national champions, the 1 seed Florida Gators. Nebraska, based on seeding, was expected to be here, but still a monumental moment for the Huskers, who have never won an NCAA tournament game until this year and have now made the Sweet 16. So a lot on the line for both teams other than just making it to the Elite 8. There's the rivalry and the competitiveness. The Nebraska Cornhuskers, I believe, are scheduled to begin practice shortly in Houston, and we will bring you video of that later today from Clayton and Mason down there on First Alert 6 at 4 and 5. Now let's take a look. You see some of the players there, Bennett, Sturtz, and others. They also addressed the media, and here is what they had to say just a short time ago.
Yeah, it's obviously pretty intense. Both teams care about their sports, and I think it's any sport you play, Iowa, Nebraska, it's going to be high level, intense, and people care about it a lot. So it'll be a packed out arena, and just looking forward to it.
Thank you, Bennett. Cam?
Yeah, along the same lines what Bennett said, just how much both fan bases and teams care about the rivalry and just how big it is. And both games were super intense and high level, and so really just excited to play in a rivalry game in this type of environment.
Fourth row, right side.
Myron Metcalf, ESPN, for Bennett and Cam. You all hit a rough patch late in the year, and then you bounce back to what we're seeing now. How did you do that? What changed for this team? We can start with Bennett.
Yeah, I thought we just stuck together in the hard times. I feel like we were in every game, even if we were down a lot. We still found a way to make it close. We just couldn't get over the hump, and we knew if we stuck together and went our backs against the wall, no one thought about themselves or anything like that. No one was selfish. We just wanted to win. That's what I think we did, and we knew we could make a run. And then just in Big Ten tournament, we unfortunately didn't get it done. We were close again, and then we stuck together more than anything, just getting ready for March Madness. So that's what we did, and hopefully we can keep rolling.
Cam?
Yeah, we like you said, we stayed together, and we knew we were close, but close wasn't enough for us. So just trying to figure out how to get over the hump and win some of these games. And, I mean, understanding that there's no better time than March to figure it out. And so just trying to gain that confidence of knowing that we can finish these games. But we were close the whole time, and so sticking together, understanding we're right there, and trying to control the controllables and going back, figuring out what it is that we're not doing and trying to correct those things. And slowly but surely we started correcting those things and now being able to flip some of those results and get wins.
Other questions? Left side, second row.
Mike Sauter, Hurrdat Sports. Bennett, what makes your relationship with Coach McCollum so special? You've been with him, obviously, for a long time.
Yeah, the amount of trust I have in him and that he never lies to anyone on this team, including me. He shoots you straight, and even when it's tough and even when it's hard, he pushes you past your limit, and I think that's where the trust comes in, and he cares about you a lot and wants to make you a better person. So, yeah, he just pushes everyone on this team, and honestly, you can see the benefit from that. And even in the wins that he's all had throughout his career, he doesn't get complacent. So that's what we need to do and continue to do is even though we beat a 1 seed, we can't get complacent. We got to keep getting better every day and get ready for the game tomorrow.
Fourth row, second in.
Blake Schroeder, Scarlet Showdown. For Bennett, Nebraska, in that first game, you scored 25 points. The second game, they held you to one of your lowest totals of the season in just 11. What did they do to limit your productivity, and how do you guys plan to get that fixed going into tomorrow?
Yeah, they obviously did a great job, and I wasn't on my A game that game. But it doesn't matter if I score 0 points and we win a game. That's all I care about is just winning the game. So, unfortunately, I didn't play well at all, but that's a testament and credit to them. Their defense is ready to go, and I didn't really get many clean looks at the rim or from three. So that's not a big worry because even if I don't get any looks and lots of eyes are on me, then Cam or Kale or any of the other guys on the team will get looks. So, yeah, just trying to get everyone involved, and if I need to go score a bucket, hopefully I can do that tomorrow.
If you have a question, please raise your hand. Left side, third row.
Yes, Sean Callahan, again, for both players. You guys have played for Coach McCollum a long time. That situation where him and Coach Golden were kind of going at it, I mean, has that been the guy he's always been? And as players, when a coach does that, do you kind of feed off that knowing your coach is not backing down? Even to a guy that just won the national championship the year before, he's like, look, I'm not backing down from you in that moment.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, our kind of thing is we're all fighters, and he's the main one. So knowing that he's gonna go down swinging. I mean, we're all gonna go with him, and so just knowing that we're gonna follow him, wherever he goes, and so we're just gonna make sure that if he's our leader, we're gonna follow him to where he's trying to take us, and he's trying to take us to the top. So just trying to follow everything that he does and listen to him, and he'll help us get these wins.
Yeah, he's just a lead by example dude, and if you see him getting intense and trying to fight the other coach, you're going to want to do the same thing to the players. So we just follow his lead, and he does a great job.
Anything else? Yes, sir. Right side, fourth row.
Myron Metcalf, ESPN. For Bennett and Cam, we start with Bennett. What kind of confidence do you get when you knock off a number one seed and a defending champion the way that you all did?
Yeah, I think you get confidence for like a night, and then honestly, Coach Mack and the coaching staff really did a great job just leveling our heads and getting on to the next game. So we didn't really celebrate too much. We can do that after the season. Literally all we did the next day was watch film and get back to Iowa City and just get better at practice and just take it one day at a time, one practice at a time, one game at a time.
Yeah, I think Coach Mack has just tried to preach the team that we can be and the team that can go on a run. And so winning that type of game just gives you the confidence and know that you've done it, especially for a team like us where we've been close so many times. And so to finally kind of break through a little bit and be able to win a game like that, it just gives you confidence going forward that no matter the situation, like you can do it. And we've shown that we can do it. And the coaches did a really good job of just making, like you said, keeping us grounded, showing us what we did wrong and, what we did right. And so what will help us going forward. And then also the things that we can kind of cut down on that could have lost us that game.
that. The Iowa players, their junior forward and senior guard, speaking for the Hawkeyes after Coach Ben McCollum. The Hawkeyes were first to speak at the news conferences today, and then a short time ago, Nebraska players came out ahead of Coach Hoiberg and addressed their feelings on the game tomorrow night against Iowa. Here is what they had to say.
From the right.
Hi, Danielle Lerner with USA Today. Sam, how has your relationship with your dad changed since, he became your coach here? And same question for your relationship with Charlie. How has that changed since he came and joined the staff?
I wouldn't say it's changed a whole lot. I had an amazing relationship growing up and had an amazing childhood. As far as Charlie, we've been as close as you can possibly be my entire life. And him coming back has just been really cool to have him be a part of it. But we've created there's a little bit of professional relationship with how he's helped me in coaching me. I think that's probably where he's made his biggest impact, is how he's helped me with my offensive production. He's been huge for that. And then with my dad, I think we've done a great job of keeping it very player-coach relationship in practices. I don't think you'd be able to tell if you came to a practice that I was his kid. And, we probably have grown a little bit closer bond from it all, but in general, just still had an amazing relationship growing up, and it's maintained that way.
Third row, far right. Right in front of you, right there. Thank you.
Price, what do you think it will be like to face your former team, and how do you think the Iowa fans will react to you?
I'm not really sure. It's not something I'm focused on. We're treating the game as any other game. So same approach as we've had all season, and just kind of block out that outside noise.
So, because most of the players you played with are not even there anymore?
Yeah, I did play with a couple of them. And I still have a lot of good relationships with some of the staff and the managers. So, still see them around and talk to them. But it is a very different team. Only 2 players stayed, but still have good relationships with them.
Second row, second in from the left.
Robin watched Husker Online. Rink, when a lot of times coaches save like different wrinkles and sets for postseason play. Given this is your 3rd meeting with Iowa, how are you preparing for something new against an opponent that's so familiar?
We've kind of opened the entire playbook. Throughout the season, we've added new sets. We've gone away from some things that teams scouted, but we added everything. We've added some new stuff. So, just everything's open, and we got a bunch of guys with a high basketball IQ, so that definitely helps with just having a huge amount of sets that we can go to.
Fourth row, second in from the right.
Blake Schroeder, Scarlett Schroeder on first. Sam, after you guys have accomplished what you've done in winning the program's first tournament game, now the first Sweet 16 appearance, is there a sense of maybe being able to play more free now that monkey's off the back, per se?
Yeah, I think that kind of came off after that first game for sure. I talked about it a lot. There was a ton of anxiety with that game, just knowing that, especially for the seniors like me and Rink, if we didn't get that win, we would have never been able to come back and do it. So it was nice to get that free off your back, but every game is super high pressure now. So just get back to doing what you did all year and preparing for the game plan and executing the best you possibly can.
Third row, second in from the left.
This is really for all the players. Last week the crowd atmosphere at the regional was unlike anything we've seen before. What are you guys expecting here with a little bit more ticket competition, and what's your message maybe to the Nebraska fan base coming down here?
Rink, will you start that off, please?
Obviously we're a little further away from home. All the fans that I talked to in Oklahoma City all said that they wanted to try and come down here. But, like you said, we've got some competing fan bases here. Houston's a couple miles away. There's some competition for those tickets. But for any Husker fans that have made it out here and will be in the arena, let's try and be as loud as you can. And I know Husker fans will support us no matter what.
Price?
Yeah, we have one of the best fan bases in the nation, so we know that they're going to show out. I hope it can be like Oklahoma City, but it's probably hard to do. So, we know that they're going to show out for us.
Sam?
Well, I was looking at how far Memphis was from Lincoln in comparison to here, and it's pretty close. And I know how much of a crowd we had a couple of years ago there, so I fully expect it to be another really good crowd. Probably not to the extent of Oklahoma City, but yeah, I've said it all week. We have the greatest fans in the world, so expecting a good crowd.
Please raise your hand.
And that was the Nebraska players just a short time ago at this afternoon's news conference. They are now on the court in Houston practicing ahead of tomorrow night's game against the Iowa Hawkeyes. Finally, just moments ago, Coach Hoiberg did take to the microphone and took some questions from the media gathered there. And here's what Coach Hoiberg had to say.
Yeah, it's great to be here in Houston. Love this arena, coached in it, and actually was in this practice facility with numerous practice times here. So it's great to be back in Houston, and just really excited for the opportunity to continue to compete in this great event. Playing a really tough opponent in Iowa, was so impressed by their win over Florida and all the things that they did in that game to get the victory there at the end. We know them, they know us, and had two really highly competitive games against them this year, essentially one-possession games in both of them, and excited about the opportunity to compete tomorrow.
If you have a question, please raise your hand. Wait for the microphone. We'll go second row, second in from the left.
Robin Washut, Husker Online. Fred, from your experience, the deeper you get into NCAA tournament play, how much of these games come down to like a coach's chess match, especially against an opponent you're facing for the third time in the season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've got our game plan. Iowa has theirs, and now it's all about going out and executing and figuring out a way to make adjustments if things aren't going according to plan. And it is, when you look at the two games that we played earlier this year, very, Iowa, with the way that they control pace and control tempo, I thought they did a great job with that in those first two games. They get up 10 early on Clemson and did the same thing, got a double-digit lead against Florida, and they were able to control pace and tempo for the entire game. That was the story, I thought, in our two games as well, and they do as good a job as anybody. Ben does a phenomenal job of getting his guys in the right spots, with Sturtz being one of the most clutch players in this tournament and in all of college basketball. But what they're doing with Combs right now, he's handling the ball a lot as well. They're using Sturtz a little bit off the ball. The way Koch is shooting, he's shooting 54% over his last 5 with 18 made threes. And really everybody, Banks coming off an unbelievable game. And, it's going to come down to a lot of little things, Robin. Rebounding is going to be very important in this game. It's going to be a possession battle. Taking care of the basketball, very important at this time of year. And, with what I'm 15 offensive rebounds against Clemson, I think won the Battle of the Glass by 13 in that game. So, just they're playing their best basketball this season. I like how we're playing right now, and it should be a fun game tomorrow night.
Third row, right side.
Hi, Fred. Chad Leistico, Des Moines Register. Good to see you. What have you learned in the limited time you've had to coach against Ben McCollum, and what do you feel like it's a chess match of adjustments this third time or not? Yeah, I mean that's obviously important, and we watched the two games that we played against them. They watched the two games that they played against us, and it is all about going out there and making adjustments. And again, you've got a plan, but if things aren't going according to plan, you got to be ready to adjust on the fly, and hopefully your guys execute it. I thought our guys did a really good job when we switched up our defense late in the game against Vanderbilt. And we found out a way to go slow down their momentum. And that's what this time of year is all about. If you have any chance of advancing, you have to have great execution in everything you do on both sides of the ball. But, yeah, Ben, he's been elite at what he's done in year one with the roster and getting the right guys that fit his system. And when you have a guy like Sturtz, that was the other impressive thing. I mean, Sturtz goes 0 for 9 from 3, and they beat, the number one seed and one of the best teams in the country. So they're playing at a high level, and we're going to have to be on point. We're going to have to play as well as we have all year if we want to have a chance to win this game tomorrow and continue on and advance. And, I feel good about what we did. Vanderbilt was an unbelievably quality opponent, and I thought our guys did a great job of going out there and getting off to a fast start, built a little bit of a lead, got a cushion. They made their run, and our guys did not panic. And that's the other thing at this time of year. You have to handle adversity well, and our guys, for the most part, all season long have done that, and I think Iowa certainly has done that as well.
That was Coach Fred Hoiberg. A lot of praise from Coach Hoiberg about the Hawkeyes, a lot of praise from Coach McCollum about the Cornhuskers. It's safe to say, if you know anything about these coaches, it's not going to be any praise tomorrow night. It is going to be a lot of heated rivalry on the court in Houston. Once again, we do want to remind you that tomorrow night's game is scheduled to tip off at 6:30 tomorrow night between the Iowa Hawkeyes and the 9th seed, the Nebraska Cornhuskers and the 4th seed. Tip off at 6:30 tomorrow night at the Toyota Center in Houston. Both teams in the Sweet 16 looking for that Elite 8 matchup. It would be Nebraska's first in program history, Iowa's first since I was a kid, sometime in the mid-'80s, I believe. But both teams have made their first Sweet 16 contest, Nebraska ever, Iowa not since 1999, 27 years ago. Of course, we will have much more coming up on First Alert 6 at 4 and 5 o'clock this afternoon, as well as 3 o'clock from our team in Houston. Clayton and the gang are down there right now. And they will have much more for you both on air and online here on First Alert 6. We will also bring you special post-game coverage after the game tomorrow night here on our streaming channels and on our streaming or our social media channels as well. And we will have all of that for you, including a live analysis of the game coming up tomorrow night. Until then, I want to thank everyone for joining us for the news conferences this afternoon. And again, we'll have much more coming up later this afternoon. Until then, I'm Nick Weig in the Alert Center.